This is your girl Yannick Taylor, aka Priestess, hostess of Conversations with the Priestess. Here's a preview of what you may hear on Conversations with the Priestess.
We weren't meant for monogamy, let's be honest. Like, we have needs, let's be real. And communicating that, what you want, what you don't want, what sets up. Now, this drink is brown because I learned something. Since I'm older, I can't do brown liquor anymore. Also, I noticed since I started on hormone replacement there, HRT, in 2015, me and certain liquors don't match well. I don't know whether...
And I recognize that a lot of men love to be dominated by women. And that's because men are seen as these leaders, as this big alpha male dominant being. And because they're put on this pedestal of being leaders, sometimes they want to be submissive. Back when I cosplayed a Butch Queen in South Carolina around 2011, I was on Craigslist. This is when Craigslist was bumping and before they had gotten rid of the personal section. I hope you enjoyed that preview. Join me on Wednesdays at 9 p.m. for Priestess After Dark. Full video versions of the podcast can be found on patreon.com/CWT Priestess, and join me on Fridays at noon for our regular Friday post. Live, love, and be free. Smooches.
Available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, anywhere you download and stream podcasts.
What's going on, everybody? This is your girl Yanni T, the Priestess, never your mistress. Welcome to another installment of Conversations with the Priestess. It has been a while since I've recorded an episode with you all, but I want you all to sit back and relax, and I'm just going to use my gift of gab as I've been using for the past 5 years as I celebrate Pride Month ending and going into the month of July, still beaming in Pride. So, sit back and relax. Hit that intro. Come on, grab a seat and have a conversation with the priestess. Oh, pour yourself a glass of wine or some water or whatever you want. We're gonna gab it up. What's up, everybody? This is your girl Yanni T, the Priestess, never your mistress. Thank you for listening to this podcast. The music that you hear me singing over is Just the Way You Are by M. Fazal. Sit back, relax. Let's get into the show. Y'all hear me clicking away? Oh, what's going on? It's your girl Yanni T, the Priestess, never your mistress. Welcome to another edition of Conversations with the Priestess. It has been quite some time, and I do apologize for the inconsistencies in coming to you all and bringing you weekly episodes. Things have been very hectic and have been very busy for me, and I needed to, after the last episode that we did, I had to take some time for me because I had a lot going on with work, and things have been kind of challenging in the work atmosphere. Many of you all heard me talk about some of my experiences on YouTube and on other avenues as well. However, I'm grateful and I'm thankful. Don't get me wrong. Everything ain't all bad. I am grateful to report that I'm starting a new job in the middle of July once I come back from convocation. And just, I'm thankful for a restart. I'm very grateful for a restart. And things have been very hectic. And I realized that it's actually been almost 2.5 months since I came to you all. And thank you all for listening to the I Was in a Cult series as well. So, a little bit of the experiences that I have had since we've been gone. Again, I'm starting a new job soon, which I'm very excited about. Because I will be an independent contractor, and that will allow me a little more time to create by me setting a set schedule and working whenever I want to. And this decision came after speaking with other people that I worked with and looking at other opportunities and really getting advice on a job change, submitting my resume, updating my resume. I had a couple of interviews. They went well. However, they chose another candidate. Cool. I'm not fighting and fussing about it, but I do have some things in the works, and I can't tell everyone about it at this time because of the delicacy behind such work. But I have some great things coming. So in between that time, I've been making extra money from doing some of my patron work and doing deliveries and things like that with Uber Eats and Shipt. So you can kind of see that I'm looking for something that will allow me more time, again, to create and to do the things that I love doing and really dedicate more time to other things that I'm starting. And one of the venues that I have started back, y'all, I have released a shoe line, a shoe design called Melanated Memoirs. I created this a while back, but never did anything with it. And I'm bringing it back out. And me being a trans woman of color, I recently decided I'm going to go back to the multiple streams of income that I have and really pour back my energy into podcasting and my music. And one of those things is that creating helps me deal with anxiety and mental illness as well. So whenever you see me creating, boom, I'm actually coping and relaxing my mind. So, and if y'all hear me clear my throat a lot, forgive me. My allergies have been acting up, so, we do what we gotta do. But for real, I recently got my letter to obtain my gender affirming surgeries. And I recently sent that to the necessary parties that would need that so I can start this journey. And I'm very excited because I'm finally coming to myself and becoming the woman that I desire to be. A lot of people may not understand it. It's not for them to understand, but this is my journey. And so as a result, I'm using what my hands were made for, and that's to create. So I have this shoe called Melanated Memoirs. And I need 7 people to buy this shoe by July the 22nd. For it to go into production, because I really want this to work for me. This is something I'm doing for me, and it's very dear to me. And the link is posted in my show notes. Again, thank you all so much for your love and support. Y'all mean the world to me. Y'all don't know. Y'all mean the world to me to hear that people actually listen to my podcast. And I'm just so grateful. So I'm trying my damnedest to pick this back up as much as possible. And I will have an episode just for convocation in line and ready to release at the appropriate time. So it may be a replay. We don't know. You shall see. So I'm grateful and thankful for everything that has transpired at this time. And I'm just happy. I'm just happy. I did want to announce that I'm also excited that since we've last spoken, there was the launching of the church that I belong to, the City of Champions at the Birthing Place. We are now holding services on Sundays at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we are live as well. You can find us on Facebook as the City of Champions. Now, from the 7th of July until the 12th of July, we will not be having any services due to us being at convocation at the time of this podcast. So, y'all, and I'm excited to be going to convocation because we thought it was going to be canceled due to the pandemic. And I'm excited for the launch, especially because it's a new beginning in our 8th year, and we have new people, and it's such an awesome thing, and I want you all to be a part of it. So join us this Sunday on July the 4th. If you're not too busy, join us. We're going to have a great time in the Lord, some great praise and worship, and a great word from God. So if you're in the DC, Maryland, or Virginia areas, you can join us at 3024 Massachusetts Avenue Southeast in Washington, D.C. We are going to have a great time, and I'm just excited about what the Lord is going to do. And as you have guessed it, yes, I am your girl Yanni T, but I still love the Lord, and that's just me. That's just me. And I'm just so grateful for that ministry. So those of you that are listening in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, come join us. We'd love to have you. Tell them Yanni sent you, okay? So other than the church launching, everything has actually been well, has been great and excellent. I really can't complain about anything. I'm excited because at the time of this podcast is being released after Pride, and I'm not going to apologize for not coming on during Pride, because I also put energy for Pride into other areas and other platforms such as Bigo. You can follow me there as Yannick T Music. Y'all can locate me there and you find your girl. But I really had to take the month of June for me personally and regroup. And I did record an episode with a friend of mine, but we're going to re-record and bring that to you because I like to be focused when I'm creating. And when I'm not focused, I'm no good. You're no good when you are all over the place. So I actually had to step away. And I don't regret stepping away at all. None at all. I do not regret stepping away. Girl, sometimes you have to step away from things for a little while. And if it's for self-care, you don't owe anybody an explanation for your self-care because your health is important. Your mental, emotional, physical health is important. So during that time, I've recharged myself by in the mornings going for a morning run. Or if I'm off in time, go for an evening run. But running or walking has to be in the regimen somewhere. That's something that I'm doing now that it's warmer outside to help cope with depression and anxiety, giving me something to focus on, refocus. Also, taking care of my physical health as well and re-examining myself and working on some financial things. So this is, this is where I'm at right now. And I don't mind being in the place of where I have to take care of myself. So I'm back now. I'm happy and I'm grateful. So, and just reworking how I do my marketing. So, and again, thank you all for listening and supporting this podcast. So I'm going to take a quick break. And here's some church announcements.
Breaking news.
It's summertime, everybody. And all of the great holidays, 4th of July, everything is coming up. So
the great visionary leader of India, Mahatma Gandhi, said, "It is health that is real wealth, and not pieces of gold and silver." Listen to the Healthy Grocer radio show on your favorite podcast platform. We know that health is our greatest wealth, and we will be discussing all aspects of natural healing. Explore everything from supplements, superfoods, and healthy lifestyle choices to help conquer stress and boost productivity. Top industry experts and natural health professionals join us for a deep dive into our healing journey. You can find the Healthy Grocer radio show on demand every day wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And remember, health is your greatest wealth.
It's time for you to get some new bundles, girl, okay? Now, we just came out of the Pride season, so I need you to go on over to priestessbeauty.maven.com. Check it in the show notes, girl. Honey, you can get free shipping on some hair and sign up for some discounts, honey. You get 10% off on your purchase when you sign up with me. So go ahead and go on over to priestessbeauty.maven.com and get you some glam-ons, get you some wet and wavy yaki, human hair, some nice lace fronts, and frontals. The selection is endless, darling. So go ahead and pick up you some bundles, okay? And let's look good for the cameras. All right? And I'm back. Welcome back. So, I did not get to really watch the BET Awards, but I saw the highlights because, number one, I was in church, and number two, I don't watch certain award shows anymore if they've lost their appeal. I still watch the Grammys and all the music awards as much as possible because I want to keep up because I'm a music artist. So I went and saw the riveting performance by Lil Nas X of Montero, which is very controversial. And he ate it up, and he did a little tribute, or a little paid homage really, to the late Michael Jackson, who has been gone from us for 12 years at this point. And he went into a little excerpt with his little outfit on, dancing to Do You Remember the Time? And in the act, of course, he kissed one of his male dancers. So a lot of people were all up in arms, especially the straights, which I really don't care. We see y'all kiss all the time. And let's go back to in the early 2000s, early to mid 2000s, where Madonna and Britney Spears kissed on stage. Nothing was really said about that. But when a black queer man trailblazed this thing for black queers, not Madonna, because she appropriated Vogue and tried to make it what it was, and she basically stole it and paid the community what she owed them. But that's a whole nother story for another day, so I'm gonna leave that alone. You know, if I said something wrong, y'all contact me personally. But anyway, Lil Nas X did something brave. We do not, in certain aspects, we don't have enough black queer representation. So for him to do this was monumental, and I'm glad that it made people upset. And for the people yelling, oh, it's about the children. What about the children? Your kids should not be watching this anyway, because this wasn't made for children. They need to be watching Coco Melon, Sesame Street, or whatever cartoon they got out now, Bob the Builder, whatever. They need to be watching that, or whatever Disney Channel they watch, honey. And it's wild. It's really wild, because you also had a lot of gays coming out talking about that's doing too much gay stuff. But the same gays that are talking are wearing bright colored wigs, wearing lipstick, or wearing heels, expressing themselves and being whomever. But it's too gay for Lil Nas X to do that. Honey, save the self-hatred and jealousy for another day. Mama don't have time for that. Mama really don't have time for that. I really do not have time for that. So, yeah. But big ups to Lil Nas X and legendary YouTube sensation, vlogger, media personality, activist, podcast on the B. Scott Show. B. Scott was present for the affair. And this comes after years after the scandal and having B. Scott to dress differently than their persona, or than his persona. And if you've really followed B. Scott from the YouTube days, he has been very gender fluid, and I absolutely love it for him. I love his gender fluidness. It absolutely gives me life. And to see him come back to BET years later and host the award show and triumph, I am grateful. That made Pride Month. Oh, and Queen Latifah received the Lifetime Achievement Award. And during her speech, she thanked someone named Ebony, her love, and thanked a child. I couldn't remember the child's name. And thank you, my love. And she concludes her speech and says, "Happy Pride." Baby, I was so happy to hear her living her truth, which I'm not going to say we already knew, but there was talk, and I'm glad that she affirmed her own self, not for the public eye, but for herself. And I'm happy for her. And she deserves her things. Even down to the tribute with Little Kim. I absolutely loved it. So these are some of the things that I saw. I'm not going to talk about the whole award show because I did not watch it. And I'm just very grateful. I'm very grateful for that. And just seeing all of these great things that transpired during Pride Month, and seeing how black melanated people are shining. I'm happy, joy. I'm very happy. So in other news, actor, comedian, better known as Cliff Huxtable, Bill Cosby, has been released from a Pennsylvania prison on a technicality, alleging that his due process rights were violated by when he was promised not to be prosecuted by a certain district attorney. But he was released from prison on this past Wednesday, which I have my own feelings with that, given the fact that he's released and over 50 women, over 45, 50 women accused him of sexually assaulting them. Trigger warning, I'm sorry, I should have said that in advance. Assaulted them, and then admitted to buying Quaaludes to give to them, and he's been released on a technicality, which I think is very callous to those who have experienced the abuse and harm at his hands. And I get it that he's America's favorite TV father, but that does not exonerate him. That does not, how am I going to say this? This does not, in my opinion, hold him accountable for his actions. And these are just my thoughts, because I'm like this. If there's more than one person saying something about you, there's truth to that. But the fact that several women, not just his victims, but other victims, are traumatized by this, and going on social media and seeing people that were actually celebrating this and also saying, we knew they lied, but it's over 40 women, over 45 women claiming this. So we have a serial rapist here. And I wouldn't post about it on social media, but this happened, and these are just my thoughts and opinions. People can fight me on this. I really don't care. And that what burned my buttons, instead of just sitting and eating her rice, I love this woman to life, but she tore her ass with me on this one. Excuse my language. She tore herself with me on this one. The fact that this woman is also a dean at Howard University, Felicia Rashad, an accomplished actress, basically celebrated and held this as it was some type of injustice against Bill Cosby. And I'm like, baby, you are dean of a campus that, in which we know that rape happens on college campuses and it's reported in a lot of places. And the fact that Janet Hubert has dragged her and everything. And I saw the tweet today, and I'm like, oh. But she goes in and makes a statement that says, I fully support survivors of sexual assault coming forward. My post was in no way intended to be insensitive to their truth. Personally, I know from friends and family that such abuse has lifelong residual effects. My heartfelt wish is for healing. Baby, I'm sorry, but there is no coming back from that. And the fact that you are a dean at Howard University, and Howard has actually released a statement on this as well. And this is what Felicia Rashad says. She says, finally, a terrible wrong is being righted. A miscarriage of justice is corrected. And that's when she said that she supports sexual survivors and all that jazz. Well, a lot of people are saying that because she is a dean, I just can't get with this. I'm sorry, I really can't. But Howard University's statement is this, that they released on Twitter. Survivors of sexual assault will always be our first priority. While Dean Rashad has acknowledged in her follow-up tweet that victims must be heard and believed, her initial tweet lacked sensitivity towards survivors of sexual assault. And this is all according to what I'm reading on Fox 5 DC. Personal positions of university leadership do not reflect university's policies. We will continue to advocate for survivors fully and support their right to be heard. Howard will stand with survivors and challenge systems that would deny them justice. We have full confidence that our faculty and school leadership will live up to the sacred commitment. With all that being said, I don't know how they're going to do it. More than likely, she may end up losing her position as dean, or either she'll step down like celebrities do. But I'm going to stay on the pulse of this and just, I don't know. I just don't know. You know, it's hard out there for a pimp. Oh, it's really, I just can't. I just can't. But, you know, this shows that the justice system is really jacked up. It really is jacked up. And I'm over it at this point. I really am. One of the things that did happen, many of you are familiar with the case of George Floyd being murdered by Derek Chauvin, who was the police officer. And in a couple of months ago, he was charged with 3 guilty verdicts, of course. And however, his sentencing was on the 25th of June. And at first I said I wasn't going to watch it because I really didn't want to be in the face of trauma. I didn't want to be in the face of trauma. And so I did tune in anyway to find out what happened. And they handed him a 22 and a half year sentence. 22 and a half years. For myself and many others, that's not enough because he took a life. And I feel that they should have given him the max because he cold-bloodedly did it. And the fact that his mom got up and tried to paint him as such a righteous man, such a good man, when a black man is dead, it pissed me off. It really pissed me off. And I'm like, I can't. I refuse to deal with a lot of this craziness in the world. But this is what was handed down after he tried to get an appeal, and they already had tried to get things declared a mistrial. Just craziness. But right now 22 and a half years. That's all I'm going to say, which is not nearly enough for that, and I just can't. I really can't. But this is where we have to come in and really, really fight our hardest. To keep pressing for fair sentencings and a better justice system, dismantling the system that we have now. This is why I really want the critical race theory to be taught in schools. Because if black children are old enough to experience racism, white children are old enough, they're past old enough to learn about how racism affects everything. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. So, in other news on today, many of you all are familiar with the transgender sports ban that has been plaguing the schools. There has been many lawsuits, such as the one in Florida by the Human Rights Campaign. A young lady is suing some governors because people are tired of being picked on. These babies are going through critical changes and they're trying to navigate this as possible. But we have grown adults that's too focused on parts and things like that and just wanting to be buttholes for no absolute reason. And I am thankful to hear that in the trans world, in the world period, that we have people fighting on the ground and fighting to get these unconstitutional laws, as per President Joe Biden, out of here. And I don't understand what the witch hunt is about. Like, I get it. I get that conservatives and people and bigots are all about this holy and religious war thing, and that they feel like men should be this way. Women, just leave people alone and stop worrying about what people do with their bodies. Don't nobody tell y'all what to do, so leave people alone. But yeah, so to end on a good note before I go on break, y'all, I failed to mention this. Cardi B has announced that she is pregnant with her second child. If you've seen the photo shoot that she did, oh my gosh, it is just absolutely precious. Oh my gosh. So there's images of her sporting a baby bump with her in future, and oh my gosh,
it was, and I saw this on Instagram. It is beautiful. She has offsets with a paper mache on her belly or whatever, and she has a set with her and Culture. And Culture is looking up at her. They're both looking up, and she has like gold shoulder length earrings. Nice little head wrap. Oh my gosh, like for real, it is awesome, and I absolutely love it. Congratulations to Cardi B and Offset. I'm happy for her. A lot of people have jumped us out. Just mind your business, baby. And I'm just sitting here looking at the pictures with the gold jewelry and all of that. Oh my gosh, it is just everything. Y'all go check that out. It's a beautiful sight. So I'm going to take another break. Here's a word from some more of our sponsors, and I'm going to be back with some Priestess Wisdom. And thank you for listening to this episode of Conversations with the Priestess. You can follow us on social media at CWT Priestess. You can also find music by the Priestess at yannicktaylor.bandcamp.com. You can also stream and or download music on the iTunes Store. You can also find us on Stitcher, Spotify, and everywhere that you stream or download podcasts. So let's jump into this Priestess Wisdom. Love and be free, and check out all of the merchandise. Let's get into the wisdom. It is now time for a little bit of Priestess Wisdom. This Priestess Wisdom is coming from an experience and some wisdom and just some advice that I want to give for my Black, queer, and trans specifically. And also this is for my cis people as well, for my straight people that listen. I want y'all to really listen to what I'm saying. I'm going to share an experience with you, and I'm going to come away with some tidbits. Because in this, I'm saying, bump me looking like an angry Black woman, bump me looking like an angry Black person. I'm going to speak up, and if me correcting you on some things or me putting you in your place pisses you off, then so be it. So this woman comes in with an elderly woman that's trying to add a new phone to her account. I greeted her, and something in my spirit said, girl, just be cautious with her. Do what you got to do. Don't go overboard with your pitch, because this might be a Karen. And when I tell y'all discernment is key, discernment, it pays off. And I'm going to tell you why in just a second. So I'm doing my job with her, and in order for her to view the account at my particular store, I say, well, ma'am, I need the PIN for the account. And she's helping the lady figure out her PIN. And I said, well, ma'am, you can call customer service. So I had her call customer service. She called from her phone, but I said, well, ma'am, you can call from the store phone. And instead of using the alternative, because this is how a Karen works, y'all. This Karen says, I've never had to do this at any other Verizon store. I said, well, ma'am, I do apologize, but at this location in our stores, this is what is required for us in order to view your account. This is a safeguard. And tip number one, don't let nobody play you for dumb on your job. Don't let anybody play you dumb. I don't care if it's management or who. Don't let nobody play you for dumb on your job. You might not can go off like you want to, because, they'll look at you as the angry Black person. But baby, assert yourself. It may piss some people off, but assert yourself. It'll be worth it. And if you have to, record. So at this point, I start recording. And it's sad that we have to record. So I started recording, and she says, well, I don't want to do this. I said, well, ma'am, just call customer care, or if you want to dial 611 from your device. And so instead of doing what I told her to do, I said, well, ma'am, I have a question. Is there another line on the account, or this number? Is this another phone? I'm trying to figure out an alternative. So she was still mad because we couldn't go into alternatives because the number was actually an iPad identifying number. So she continues to fuss at me and fuss me out. And she says, well, can we add the phone or not? I said, well, ma'am, if you don't know your PIN, you can try going to our other location. That's a corporate store. She said, well, tell me if I can add the phone or not. I said, well, ma'am, let me check this again. I said, because it may have given us an error, as I stated earlier. She says, well,
check it anyway. I said, okay, ma'am. So I'm checking it. And old Karen girl says, I tell her, well, ma'am, I said, I'm checking in, and as a thought, this device cannot be added. I do apologize for stating that it did earlier. And immediately, Karen says, can I speak to your manager? I calmly, very calmly, express myself. And I said, well, ma'am, unfortunately, my manager is not here. He won't be in until this certain date or time. I said, but here's a number that you can call. She said, well, sir, I said, ma'am, no disrespect to you. I said, but my pronouns are she, her, them, they, but preferably she, her. She's like, oh my gosh, why are you yelling at me? And I have this on tape. She says, well, I'm sorry. You know, you gave me misinformation. I said, ma'am, and I did apologize for that. She says, well, you yelled at me when you corrected me on your pronouns. This is the kicker. She had been addressing me as ma'am all morning long until I told her, no, this won't work, or you have to do things this way. Let me drop a pin right there. Baby, correct people on your pronouns and how to respect you. I don't care if they mispronounce your name on purpose or these little microaggressions. Assert yourself over these people. Assert yourself over your customers. They can get mad, but you assert yourself, record, and call the necessary authorities if you have to, even if you have to protect yourself. It's time out for us black and brown people and us trans people taking this stuff lying down. Thank God we have video. And I hate having to get police officers involved because they always well, I'm not going to say always. Let me fix that. But sometimes they're going to look at us like a criminal. But we have evidence. And we already know how the narrative goes. But this Karen misgendered me, and when I corrected her, she said, well, you didn't have to yell at me. I said, ma'am, I've never once raised my voice. Meanwhile, the older lady that was with her, the elderly lady that was with her, was just as nice and told her, she said, honey, calm down. It's not that serious. They just corrected you. And if the phone doesn't work, the phone doesn't work. She said, well, this phone is supposed to work with all carriers. I said, ma'am, I do apologize, which in no way in hell does the advertiser produce that. They just produce that phone. They don't give you a list of networks, which I'm like, girl, go sit down somewhere. So Miss Girl is like, well, you yelled at me. I said, ma'am, again, I did not yell at you. I said, you were the one that became argumentative when I corrected myself and apologized that the phone did not work. And I did provide you with alternatives. It's up to you to take those alternatives now. And I don't regret going off in that manner. Y'all, dealing with these Karens, you call them out by their behavior and stand your ground, because if you give them what they want, they're going to think, oh, it's owed to them. Stand your ground. And although people make mistakes, like I made the mistake, and own up to it and say, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. If you make a mistake, that does not give anybody at all the right to disrespect you, misgender you, call you a racial slur, and do anything, especially if you're advising how things work. And this is the crazy part. She tried to gaslight me by saying, you know, you yelled at me, honey. I know I didn't yell at you. If I yelled at you, I would have still been on a roll on my way of clocking out and saying, F this job, and walking out. Because I don't need the stress and drama from you right now. I came to work. I haven't had my coffee yet, and you're making my life difficult for no reason. So, again, stand your ground. Stand your ground by any means necessary. And record to back yourself up. And if the company retaliates against you, baby, do what you gotta do. This is one reason why a while back I also emailed HR at my soon-to-be former place of employment, because of issues with transphobia, not only with staff, but with customers, and coming to an alternative. Yes, they sent me a nice little email, even called me, but they have yet to follow up with me, and that's been over 2 months ago. So, but I have a plan of action in mind, so that other trans people that may get hired there won't have to go through the things that I have to go through. It will be a necessary act, and I'm waiting to a certain time to do it, because I don't want to put things in jeopardy as well. So it's all about strategy, but be on the lookout for a lot of things at this point. And the fact that Also, this Karen, the one thing about Karen is they're going to immediately ask for a manager and think they're going to get their way. And the fact that she did not like being corrected or told no, I'm proud of myself that I stood up. I'm proud of myself that I stood up. And I'm at a point now to where I'm speaking up when it comes down to my work environment. I come to work and to be valued. And right now, it's taking a lot in me not to be spiteful or hateful or anything. And my tip of wisdom in sharing this with you all is to stand up for yourselves and assert yourselves. Stop fearing that they're going to retaliate. If they do retaliate, you document everything and have a backup plan and get to those in your community that you know will fight for you. Document the behaviors, document everything. And I hate to say this redundantly, but you are owed a safe space. You are owed a safe space. Don't let anyone or anybody make you feel unsafe. And if your company does not own up to it, honey, baby, leak it to the press. Do what you got to do for you, because they wouldn't want negative press. And that's just where I stand. And it's difficult as a Black trans woman in corporate America, especially because we have to deal with racism, transphobia, transmisogyny, misogyny, and just toxic masculinity all around, and toxic femininity as well. And I am thankful for resources out there. I'm going to have some resources in my show links that will help you if you are looking for more trans-friendly, queer-friendly work. And again, don't let anyone take advantage of you. And I just wanted to share that with you all because I learned something about myself. And I learned that it is okay to stand up for yourself. It is okay to speak up, especially in customer service. You don't have to get nasty or get ugly with them, but stand your ground. And what pisses me off about being a Black trans woman, people perceive you as being angry. At this point, I'm going to take being the angry trans woman and do what I have to do for me. And if people don't like it, well, then that's their own boo-boo, because that's not my problem. But in this season, speak up for yourself and continue to fight. With that, I bid you adieu. Love you. Oh, thank you for coming to the table with me. Thank you for this conversation with your girl, the priestess.